You're exhausted, aren't you? Tired of the cycle. You meet someone, feel that spark, ignore the little voice saying this feels familiar, and 6 months later you're heartbroken wondering how this happened again. Here's the truth nobody's telling you. Your feelings are lying to you. That spark you're chasing? That's not attraction. That's recognition. You're drawn to familiar pain. And it's based on beliefs you formed years ago that are absolutely irrational. Want to know what they are? Listen, I'm not going to give you some bullshit checklist of green flags or tell you to raise your standards. That's surface-level garbage that doesn't address the real problem. What I'm going to do is show you the exact irrational beliefs, the ABCs as I call them, that are literally programming you to choose the wrong women. See, most people think their emotions just happen to them. You see a woman, you feel attracted, you pursue her. But I'm going to prove to you that between what happens, you meeting someone, and how you feel that attraction, there's a belief system running the show. And that belief system is usually based on complete horseshit you learned when you were 5 years old. Here's what makes my approach different. I'm not interested in your childhood trauma. I'm not going to have you lie on a couch for 5 years talking about your mother. What I care about is what you're telling yourself right now that's screwing up your choices. Because once you identify these irrational beliefs, and I'll show you exactly what they are, you can dispute them, dismantle them, and replace them with rational thinking that actually serves you. By the end of this, you'll know the 3 core irrational beliefs that drive bad partner choices, how to spot them in real time when you're meeting someone, and exactly how to interrupt the pattern before you waste another 6 months of your life. This isn't theory. This is the same process I've used with thousands of clients who broke their patterns and found healthy relationships. So let me start by explaining something fundamental that most people completely misunderstand about how attraction works. You think attraction goes like this. I met her, I felt attracted, therefore she's right for me. That seems logical, right? But it's completely wrong. And it's wrong because it ignores what I call the B in the ABC model. Here's how it actually works. A is the activating event. That's you meeting someone. C is the consequence. That's your emotional reaction, the feelings of attraction. But between A and C, there's B. And B is the belief you have about what's happening. That belief is what actually creates your emotions. Not the person, not the situation, your belief about it. Let me give you an example. 2 different guys meet the same woman. She's confident, independent, has strong boundaries, knows what she wants. One guy feels intensely attracted to her. The other guy feels absolutely nothing. Same woman. That's the A, the activating event. But 2 completely different reactions, different CS, different consequences. Why? Because they have different beliefs, different BS. Guy number 1 believes I need someone who challenges me and won't put up with my shit. Guy number 2 believes I need someone who needs me and makes me feel important. Their beliefs create completely different emotional responses to the exact same person. Do you see what I'm saying? The attraction isn't about her. It's about what you believe. Now here's where this gets really important for understanding why you keep choosing the wrong women. You think that spark you feel when you meet someone, that instant chemistry, is telling you something true about compatibility. It's not. What's actually telling you is this feels familiar. Your brain isn't saying this person is healthy for me. Your brain is saying this matches the emotional environment I grew up in. If your early relationships, and I'm talking about your family, your parents, your first experiences of what love looked like, if those involve criticism, emotional unavailability, chaos, haven't earned affection, your brain literally coded those experiences as what love feels like. So when you meet someone as an adult who recreates those same dynamics, you feel that spark. You feel that chemistry. Not because it's good for you, but because it feels like home. Your nervous system recognizes the pattern and says, yes, this is it, this is love. But what it's really recognizing is familiar dysfunction. I worked with a guy once, brilliant engineer, complete disaster with women. Every single girlfriend, same story. Emotionally unavailable, critical, eventually cheated. 3 times this happened. 3 different women, same outcome. So I asked him to describe his mother. His face went white because his mother was cold, withholding, only showed approval when he achieved something, and had an affair that destroyed his parents' marriage when he was 12. He wasn't choosing partners. He was choosing unfinished business. His brain learned as a child that love means working hard for scraps of approval from someone who's never fully available. So as an adult, when he met a warm, available, genuinely interested woman, his brain said, "This doesn't compute. This doesn't feel like love. There's no spark." And when he met a woman who was cold and critical and hard to please, his brain said, "Yes, finally, this is it." He was doing it on purpose. Not consciously, but systematically. His irrational beliefs were running the show. Now, most of your beliefs about relationships were formed before you were 10 years old. You watched your parents, you absorbed their dynamics, and you created rules. Love means sacrifice. If she's not jealous, she doesn't care. I have to work hard to earn affection. Conflict means the relationship is ending. Whatever you saw, you turned into beliefs about how love works. And here's the problem. These beliefs run automatically in the background. You don't even know they're there. They're just operating, driving your choices, creating your attractions, making you rationalize red flags. It's like having a computer program running that you didn't install and can't see, but it's controlling everything. I call some of these beliefs masturbatory thinking. Masturbation, like must and should. I must be with someone who makes me feel needed. She should want to spend all her time with me. If she really loved me, she must do X, Y, Z. These absolute demands, these musts and shoulds, they set you up for disaster because they're rigid, they're unrealistic, and they attract partners who either enable your irrational thinking or rebel against it. And both outcomes are unhealthy. Now that you understand how your beliefs create your attractions, let me show you the 3 specific irrational beliefs that almost everyone who keeps choosing the wrong women has in common. And I guarantee you have at least one of these. Probably all 3. The first irrational belief is this: I'm not enough as I am. This is the big one. You believe that your authentic self, flaws and all, is fundamentally unlovable. So what do? You're attracted to women who confirm this belief. How? You choose women who are critical, hard to please, emotionally distant, or withholding of affection. Why would you do that? Because when someone like that chooses you, you get to feel like you've earned something valuable. It's like winning a game that's rigged against you. But here's the trap, and pay attention to this. You can never earn enough. The relationship becomes this constant performance where you're trying to prove your worth. And when it inevitably fails, because how could it not, it confirms your original belief. See, I'm not enough. I knew it. But this belief also does something else that's really insidious. It makes you dismiss healthy women who show genuine interest in you. When a woman likes you easily, accepts your flaws, doesn't make you work hard for her affection, you feel uncomfortable. Your brain says something's wrong here. She must not know the real me. This feels too easy. She'll figure out I'm not actually that great and leave anyway. So you self-sabotage or you lose interest. You literally cannot receive the love you claim to want because it contradicts your core belief. Think about that. The thing you say you want most, unconditional acceptance, is the thing your brain rejects when you actually get it. The second irrational belief is this: I can change her, fix her, or earn her love. This belief is connected to the first one. If you're not enough as you are, then you need to prove your value by performing miracles, right? So you're drawn to women with problems, trauma, emotional unavailability, or who are maybe even involved with someone else. You think if I could be patient enough, understanding enough, loving enough, she'll heal and realize I'm the one. She'll see how different I am from all the other guys. She'll finally be ready for a real relationship, and it'll be with me. This is magical thinking. You're not choosing a partner. You're choosing a project. And you know what? You'll probably succeed at first. She'll open up. She'll lean on you. She might even fall for you. But here's what you don't understand. Her feelings for you are based on what you do for her, not who you are. So you're trapped in the same performance as the first belief. The moment you stop being the hero, the therapist, the savior, the guy who's always understanding and never has needs of his own, the relationship falls apart. And you're left completely devastated, thinking, I gave everything and it wasn't enough. But you weren't giving to a partner. You were giving to a patient. And you're not a therapist. You're someone who's trying to earn worth through fixing someone else. The third irrational belief is this: intense emotions equal real love. You confuse anxiety for passion, drama for depth, jealousy for caring, because somewhere along the way you learned that love is supposed to hurt, supposed to be hard, supposed to consume you. So when you meet someone and the relationship is calm, stable, relatively easy, you interpret that as no spark or we're just friends. You literally cannot recognize healthy love because it doesn't match your template of what love feels like. This belief makes you addicted to the roller coaster. The fights follow by passionate make-up sex. The push-pull dynamic where she's hot then cold, interested then distant. The uncertainty that keeps you hooked, constantly trying to win her back or prove yourself. Your nervous system is activated 24/7, adrenaline and cortisol flooding your system, and you interpret that activation as this must be real because I feel it so intensely. But you're not in love. You're in an anxiety loop. Your body is in fight or flight mode all the time, and you're calling that passion. Now here's the worst part about these three beliefs. They reinforce each other. You believe you're not enough. That's belief number one. So you choose someone who needs fixing. That's belief number two, which creates an intense, unstable, dramatic dynamic. That's belief number three, which reinforces your belief that you're not enough when it inevitably falls apart. And you're right back at belief number one. It's a perfect self-fulfilling prophecy. You set yourself up to fail, you fail, and then you use that failure as evidence that your original irrational belief was true. Your brain loves this because it gets to be right, but you lose because you're stuck in the same painful pattern. I once had a client who challenged his own irrational beliefs about dating in the most direct way possible. He was terrified of rejection. His belief was if a woman rejects me, it proves I'm worthless. So you know what he did? He went to the park and intentionally approached women, not to get dates, but to get rejected. He did this over and over until his brain finally understood that rejection wasn't catastrophic. You need that same kind of direct confrontation with your irrational beliefs. You need to see them operating in real time and challenge them right there in the moment. So let me show you what this looks like when you meet someone and these beliefs start operating. Because you think you don't see red flags. But that's wrong. You see them. Your brain just has an entire rationalization system designed to explain them away. Why would your brain do that? Because acknowledging red flags would mean abandoning the relationship, which would trigger your core irrational beliefs. So your brain protects you from that immediate pain by making the red flags invisible. It's like putting blinders on a horse. Here's how it works. A red flag appears. She cancels plans last minute for the third time. Your rational response should be this person doesn't respect my time or prioritize me. But your irrational belief, I'm not enough, it activates immediately. And you think she must be really busy. Important people have demands on their time. I should be more understanding. See what just happened? You turned a red flag about her behavior into a demand on your behavior. You made it about you needing to be better instead of about her showing you exactly who she is. This is your brain protecting your irrational belief. Another example. She talks negatively about all her exes. They're all crazy or abusive or couldn't handle her. Every single one. That's a massive red flag. It means she takes no responsibility for relationship failures. But your belief, I can fix her, it activates. And you think she's just been hurt before. She needs someone who really understands her. I'm different from those other guys. I won't hurt her like they did. You just made yourself the exception to a clear pattern. You just decided that somehow you're going to be the one person who breaks through, who's different, who changes everything. That's not rational thinking. That's a savior complex driven by your need to prove your worth. And then there's the intensity override. When you feel that strong attraction, remember it's pattern recognition, not real chemistry. Your brain releases chemicals that literally shut down your judgment. You're in a state called limerence. It's basically an addiction state. During this phase, your brain actively suppresses information that contradicts the fantasy you're building. You know that feeling when a friend points out something concerning about the person you're dating and you get defensive or angry. That's not them being wrong or judgmental. That's your brain protecting its drug supply. You're literally addicted to the neurochemical cocktail this person triggers in you, and your brain will fight to maintain that supply. This is why you make excuses. She only acts that way when she's stressed. He didn't really mean it. It's too early to judge. Everyone has flaws. These aren't reasonable observations. They're active suppression of warning signals. Your brain is screaming at you to ignore the smoke detector because the house is only on fire in the kitchen, the living room is fine. And the longer you're with someone, the harder it becomes to acknowledge red flags because now you've invested time, emotion, money, energy. Your brain thinks if I admit this isn't right, all that investment was wasted. So instead of cutting your losses, you double down. This is called the sunk cost fallacy. You think the next conversation, the next gesture, the next month will be when things turn around. When she finally sees how good you are. When he finally commits. When a relationship finally becomes what you've been working so hard to create. But you're not building something together. You're building something alone while they watch. The most dangerous rationalization is what I call the not all bad excuse. You focus on the good moments to justify tolerating the bad ones. Sure, she's critical and dismissive sometimes, but when things are good, they're amazing. Yeah, he's unreliable, but when he shows up, he's incredible. You're averaging the relationship. You're taking the highs and the lows and finding the middle ground and deciding that middle ground is acceptable. But that's not how relationships work. You don't average abuse. You don't average disrespect. Here's what you need to understand. People who treat you badly aren't bad 100% of the time. If they were, you'd leave immediately. The good moments aren't proof the relationship is worth saving. They're the bait that keeps you hooked. They're the intermittent reinforcement that makes the pattern even more addictive. Your brain highlights those good moments because they provide temporary relief from the anxiety the bad moments create. It's like being in pain and getting brief moments of relief. The relief feels amazing not because it's actually amazing, but because the contrast to the pain is so sharp. Think about a smoke detector. If your smoke detector goes off, you don't say, well, the house is only on fire in the kitchen. The living room is fine. You don't say the fire has only been burning for 10 minutes. Maybe it'll go out on its own. You don't say I've invested so much in this house. I can't leave now. You get out of the house. Red flags are your relationship smoke detector. And you're standing in the burning house, making excuses about why it's not that bad. All right, so you can see how your irrational beliefs keep you trapped in the pattern. But here's the question you're really asking. How do I actually change this? How do I interrupt the pattern when it's happening? This is where rational emotive behavior therapy gets practical. You can't just think positive or choose better. That doesn't work. You need to actively dispute your irrational beliefs every single time they show up. This is cognitive work. It takes practice, but it's the only thing that actually changes the pattern. So let me teach you what I call the ABCD framework. You already know ABC. A is the activating event. B is the belief. C is the consequence. Now we add D, and ED is dispute. E is effective new belief. Here's how it works in real time. You meet a woman. She's beautiful, confident, but you notice she's a little dismissive when you talk about your work. That's a small red flag. Most people ignore it. You're not going to. The activating event is you meeting her and noticing the dismissiveness. B, the belief, is your irrational belief that activates. I'm not impressive enough. I need to prove my value. If I can win her over, it'll mean I'm worth something. C, the consequence, is you feel intensely attracted. You want to pursue harder. You're already planning how to impress her, how to make her see your value. Most people stop here. They act on the feeling. They pursue. They ignore the red flag. They end up in another bad relationship. But you're going to add D, dispute. You're going to catch yourself right there in the moment and actively challenge the belief. You're going to ask, where's the evidence that I'm not enough as I am? Is this thought based on facts or feelings? Am I confusing intensity with compatibility? Would I want my best friend to pursue someone who dismisses him? And then, a effective new belief. You replace the irrational belief with a rational one. I am enough as I am. Her dismissiveness is information about her, not about my worth. Healthy attraction doesn't require me to prove anything. I'm choosing to notice this red flag instead of rationalizing it. This is the work. Right there, in that moment. Every single time. Let me give you 3 questions you can use to dispute any irrational belief when it shows up. These are your weapons against your own bullshit. Question 1. Where's the evidence? Your brain tells you she's the one after 2 dates. Really? What's the actual evidence? You barely know her. Your brain tells you I can help her heal from her past trauma. Based on what? Your degree in psychology that you don't have? Demand evidence for your beliefs like you would in any other area of your life. You wouldn't invest your money based on a feeling. Don't invest your heart that way either. Question 2. Is this belief helping me get what I want? You want a healthy, stable, loving relationship. Does the belief I need to earn love by fixing someone help you get that? No. Does the belief intense emotions mean real love lead to healthy relationships? No. If the belief doesn't serve your actual goals, it's irrational. It doesn't matter how true it feels. Question 3. Am I confusing possibility with probability? Your brain says maybe she'll change. Maybe she will. Anything's possible. But is it probable based on her pattern? No. Maybe I'm wrong about the red flags. Possible. Is it probable given your repeated experiences? No. Stop betting on possibilities and start assessing probabilities. You're not playing the lottery. You're building a life. Once you've disputed the irrational belief, you need to replace it with a rational alternative. Not positive affirmations. I'm not telling you to stand in front of a mirror saying I'm amazing. I'm telling you to create rational statements based on evidence. Replace I'm not enough as I am with I have inherent worth regardless of anyone's validation. A person who doesn't see my value isn't my person. That's not ego. That's fact. Replace I can fix, change, or earn her love with I can only control my choices and behavior. I choose a partner who is already compatible with me, not a project. That's not giving up on people. That's respecting reality. Replace intense emotions equal real love with healthy love feels calm and secure, not anxious. I'm choosing peace over passion. That's not settling. That's choosing sanity. Here's a technique that works incredibly well. When you feel yourself falling into the old pattern, intense attraction to someone showing red flags, you need a circuit breaker, something that interrupts the automatic response. Here's what I want you to do. Imagine your best friend telling you about this exact same situation. Hey man, I met this woman. She's amazing, but she's pretty critical, and she just got out of a relationship last month, and she's still texting her ex, but I really think I can show her I'm different. What would you tell your friend? You'd tell him to run. You'd see the disaster coming from a mile away. You'd say, dude, do not do this. You're setting yourself up to get hurt. So why are you treating yourself with less care than you'd treat your friend? This perspective shift creates enough distance for your rational brain to engage. It breaks the spell of your irrational beliefs just long enough for you to make a different choice. Now disputation is powerful, but here's what most people don't understand. You also need to change your exposure. You need to intentionally practice choosing differently, even when it feels wrong. Especially when it feels wrong. Right now, your nervous system is calibrated to your old pattern. When you meet someone emotionally unavailable, it feels normal. When you meet someone healthy and available, it feels boring or off. This isn't intuition. This is familiarity bias. Your job is to make the healthy choice feel normal by repeatedly exposing yourself to it. Here's a behavioral experiment I want you to try. Go on dates with people who don't fit your usual type. Specifically, if you're usually attracted to the aloof, mysterious, hard-to-get person, intentionally date someone who's open, available, and straightforward. It will feel weird. That weird feeling is not a sign you're making a mistake. It's a sign you're breaking the pattern. Notice the discomfort. Don't act on it. Just observe it. Your brain is going to tell you there's no chemistry. This is boring. You're settling. That's your irrational belief system freaking out because you're not feeding it what it wants. Here's another experiment. If you tend to choose partners who violate your boundaries, your work is to practice setting boundaries early and often. On the first few dates, notice what you want and ask for it. If you don't like how she talks to service staff, mention it. If plans change last minute, say that doesn't work for you. If something feels off, name it. Most people with your pattern avoid this because they're afraid of conflict or rejection. But here's what you'll discover. Healthy people respond well to boundaries. They respect them. They might even appreciate the clarity. Unhealthy people push back, make you feel bad for having boundaries, or act like you're being unreasonable. This experiment screens out the wrong people automatically. It's like a filter. The people who can't handle basic boundaries show themselves immediately. And you save yourself months of wasted time. One more experiment. When you feel that intense attraction, the spark, the chemistry, the feeling that this is different, practice pausing instead of pursuing. Your brain wants you to act on the feeling immediately. Strike while the iron is hot. Don't let her get away. That's your irrational belief talking. You need to prove to yourself that you can tolerate the discomfort of waiting. When you meet someone you're intensely attracted to, wait 1 week before asking them out. During that week, actively dispute your irrational beliefs about them. Notice what you're telling yourself. Write it down. Question the narrative. Often, the intensity fades when you don't feed it. You start to see the person more clearly instead of through the lens of your irrational beliefs. And if the attraction doesn't fade, at least you're choosing from a calmer, more rational place instead of from activated nervous system desperation. I used to have clients with social anxiety do something that sounds crazy. I'd have them sing loudly on the subway, ask ridiculous questions in public, do things that would embarrass them. Why? To challenge their belief that others' opinions were catastrophic. To prove that even if people judged them, it wasn't the end of the world. You need that same kind of direct exposure for your relationship beliefs. One guy I worked with was terrified of being alone. His whole pattern was built around that fear. So I had him practice ending dates first, leaving restaurants before his date, creating separation, proving to himself he could survive being alone. It was uncomfortable as hell, but it worked because he proved to himself that his fear was irrational. Being alone wasn't catastrophic. It was just uncomfortable, and he could handle discomfort. So you're doing the cognitive work, you're practicing new behaviors. But there's one more piece that ties this all together, and it's the one most people miss. It's the foundation under everything else. It's what I call unconditional self-acceptance. And without this, all the other work will eventually fail. Here's the ultimate irrational belief underneath all the others. The idea that your worth as a human being can go up or down based on external circumstances, including whether someone loves you. This is complete horseshit. You've been taught to rate yourself. I'm a 7. I'm not good enough for her. She's a 10. If I get rejected, it means I'm a loser. This is insane. You're not a rating. You're a human being who has behaviors. Some of those behaviors are helpful. Some aren't. You can change behaviors. You can't and shouldn't change your inherent worth. When you base your worth on someone choosing you, you give them all the power. When they validate you, you feel good about yourself. When they criticize you, you feel worthless. Your emotional state is entirely dependent on external circumstances. You're a puppet, and they're pulling the strings. This is why you can't see red flags clearly. If your worth depends on being chosen, you can't afford to acknowledge incompatibility. It would be too threatening to your sense of self. So you ignore warning signs, rationalize problems, and stay in bad situations way longer than you should. But if your worth is constant, if you accept that you have value simply because you exist, then you can say this person isn't right for me without it meaning anything about your fundamental worth as a human being. Let me be clear about what unconditional self-acceptance is and isn't. It's not self-esteem. Self-esteem is conditional. I'm good because I accomplished something. I'm lovable because she chose me. Self-acceptance is unconditional. I'm a fallible human being with worth simply because I exist. My worth doesn't change based on outcomes. This means accepting your imperfections. You have flaws. You've made mistakes. You'll continue to be imperfect. This is normal. This is human. When you accept your imperfections, you stop needing to prove yourself worthy of love. And when you stop needing to prove yourself, you stop choosing people who make you work for their approval. You also stop catastrophizing rejection. If someone doesn't want to be with you, it doesn't mean you're fundamentally flawed. It means you're not compatible. That's it. No drama. No self-flagellation. Just information. I maintained my own self-worth, even when my theories were attacked, my methods questioned, my style criticized. People said I was too harsh, too direct, too confrontational. Maybe I was. But my worth as a human being didn't depend on their approval. I knew what I was trying to do. I knew the value of the work. And I accepted myself completely, flaws included. That's the freedom I'm offering you. When you truly accept yourself, not in some fluffy, feel-good way, but in a deep, rational, evidence-based way, everything changes. You stop being attracted to people who make you feel like you're not enough. Why? Because that dynamic doesn't serve you anymore. You're not looking for someone to complete you or validate you. You're looking for someone compatible who adds to your already complete life. You become willing to be alone rather than settle. Because being alone doesn't threaten your worth. You're still a valuable human being whether you're in a relationship or not. You stop tolerating bad behavior because you don't need to earn love. You deserve respect by default. You start choosing partners based on compatibility, shared values, mutual respect. Not intensity, not challenge, not the fantasy of potential. Actual reality. One of my clients finally chose a healthy partner only after he accepted himself completely, including his past relationship failures, including the fact that he'd wasted years on the wrong women, including his flaws and mistakes and imperfections. Once he stopped trying to prove his worth through romantic success, he could actually see clearly enough to choose someone good for him. All right, we've covered a lot. Let me bring this all together. You keep choosing the wrong women not because you have bad luck or bad taste, but because you have irrational beliefs driving your choices. The ABC model shows you that between what happens and how you feel, there's a belief system. And that belief system is usually based on horseshit you learned when you were young. The three core irrational beliefs destroying your love life are, I'm not enough as I am. I can fix or change or earn her love, and intense emotions equal real love. These beliefs work together to create a perfect pattern of choosing partners who confirm your inadequacy. You're not missing red flags. You're rationalizing them away because acknowledging them would threaten your irrational belief system. Your brain explains away warning signs, focuses on potential instead of reality, and keeps you hooked on intensity instead of health. The way out is disputation. Actively challenging your irrational beliefs with evidence. Asking if they serve your goals. Replacing them with rational alternatives. Combined with behavioral experiments where you practice new choices even when they feel uncomfortable. And underneath all of it is unconditional self-acceptance. When you truly accept yourself, flaws and all, you stop needing to prove your worth by earning love from the wrong people. You become free to choose based on compatibility instead of compulsion. This isn't going to be comfortable. You're going to meet someone who fits your old pattern, feel that familiar spark, and have to actively choose differently. Your brain is going to scream at you that you're making a mistake. It's going to feel wrong. That's how you know you're doing it right. The healthy choice will feel boring at first. It will feel like there's no chemistry. That's because you've confused anxiety with attraction for so long that peace feels like indifference. But I promise you, stick with the rational approach. Keep disputing your irrational beliefs. Practice new behaviors. And within 6 months, you will not recognize your dating life. But here's the thing. Everything I've shown you today is about your internal work. And that's critical. But there's another side to this that's equally important. Once you've done this work and you're actually capable of choosing a healthy partner, how do you know if they're capable of being in a healthy relationship? See, you can have all your irrational beliefs handled, be secure in yourself, unconditionally self-accepting, and still end up with the wrong person if you don't know how to assess their belief systems, their attachment patterns, their capacity for healthy intimacy. So in my next video, I'm going to show you the 5 questions that reveal whether someone is actually relationship ready or just going to recreate the same dysfunction you're trying to escape. These aren't surface-level compatibility questions. These are psychological assessments disguised as casual conversation, and they'll save you months or years of wasted time. If you've made it this far, you're serious about changing your pattern. Don't stop now. Click on that next video and learn how to screen for emotionally healthy partners so all this work you're doing actually leads somewhere good. Go watch it now.